Hi, I'm Daniel Wong, and today we're going to be playing Temur Super Friends Turns. So I want to preface this by saying that this video is being recorded at a pretty weird time, both because of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Side note, I hope that you and your loved ones are staying safe, staying indoors, and staying healthy. And also because I'm recording this video after Ikoria spoilers have come out, but before Ikoria is available on Magic Online. So that means there are a bunch of cards like the Temur Triland that I know about, but don't have access to right now, and therefore am not playing. With that said, let's jump right into the deck. So this is built on the interaction between planeswalkers like Wrenn and Six and extra turn effects like Time Warp. Obviously, having a planeswalker out is great when you just keep taking extra turns, ticking your planeswalker up, and eventually try to ultimate, which is usually what you do to win the game. Let's take a look at what planeswalkers we have. So the first one is Wrenn and Six, and it's also the main planeswalker of the deck. Her +1 returns a land from your graveyard to your hand, her -1 pings, and her -7 gives you an emblem that gives all of your instants and sorceries retrace, which means you can cast them from the graveyard by just discarding a land in addition to paying their mana cost. We have Honorary Planeswalker Uro. He may not have the Planeswalker card type, but he sure feels like a Planeswalker to me. You know, every turn you get to draw a card, gain 3 life, put a land onto the battlefield. That sure sounds like a Planeswalker effect to me. Also, I guess you get to attack the opponent for 6, which maybe is pretty strong. Then we have Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Her +1 exiles the top card of your library. If you cast it, then you get to cast it, and if you don't, you deal 2 to your opponent. Her other +1 adds 2 red mana. Her -3 deals 4 to a creature, and her -7 basically says win the game. Then we have Jace the Mind Sculptor, also an okay planeswalker. His +2 is either Scry or Fate Seal. His 0 is Brainstorm. His -1 is Unsummon, and his -12 basically says win the game. Now our extra turn effects are the full 4 Time Warp, which is a very solid 5 mana extra turn, and the full 4 Savor the Moment. So this is one of the cheapest extra turn spells in Modern at just 3 mana, but the downside is that you skip your untap step. So to get around that, we have Fires of Invention. So it only lets you play 2 spells each turn, and only spells during yours turn, basically Hearthstone mode, but you get to cast spells without paying their mana costs. So the combo is, you can, as soon as turn 4, cast a Fires of Invention, follow it up with a Savor the Moment, and then just keep going. You know, play a land, a Time Warp, a Planeswalker, whatever. You can basically win the game as early as turn 4 with this. For miscellaneous interaction, we have 2 Lightning Bolts, 1 Brazen Borrower for those pesky things like Thought-Knot Seer that Lightning Bolt just can't deal with, and 1 Cryptic Command. So it's pretty weird to have Cryptic Command, or I guess any counterspell, in a deck with Fires of Invention, which restricts you to playing spells only on your turn. But in addition to being a counterspell, Cryptic Command also has many other modes. For example, bouncing a Mystic Sanctuary and drawing a card is still very, very powerful, even when you have a Fires of Invention out. Finally, we have a couple cantrips. For Arcum's Astrolabe is kind of the glue that holds the mana base together, and there's 4 Serum Visions. So speaking of mana base, we're trying to support both Mystic Sanctuary, which requires 3 other islands as soon as turn 4, and also Wrenn and Six, which is a red-green spell on turn 2. So in order to try to accommodate this, we have 10 fetch lands plus 11 fetchable islands. So we're really, really going deep on fetchable islands. We also have a snow-covered mountain, which means you do need to favor Scalding Tarn in your fetch land split. The fetchables are 3 basic snow islands, 4 Mystic Sanctuaries, 2 breeding pools, and note that it is important to have at least 2 green sources when you put Uro in the deck, and 2 steam vents, plus that mountain that I mentioned. For other non-island cards, we have 2 Lonely Sandbar, which is a card that really turbocharges Wrenn and Six's +1. It goes from being return a land to your hand to basically draw a card. And yes, it does cost an extra mana, but a 2 mana planeswalker with a +1 ability that draws a card, that's pretty insane. Then we have Gemstone Caverns, which is great when you're very, very lucky and also on the draw. And Mikokoro as the last land. This is great when you have a Fires of Invention out and you're not using the mana for other things and you want to just keep drawing cards while you're taking extra turns. Over in the sideboard, we have a bunch of removal spells in Abrade, 3 Stomp/Bonecrusher Giant, and 2 Anger of the Gods. So Bonecrusher Giant is an interesting one. The 2 damage still kills most of the things that you want to kill in Modern. There aren't very many things that a Lightning Bolt would kill that a Bonecrusher Giant wouldn't. There are things like Supreme Phantom, Spell Queller, Mantis Rider. But overall, this does a good job of killing things like, Noble Hierarch or Blighted Agent. And having the 4/3 body left over is very, very powerful. I've killed many people by just casting a 4/3 and taking a couple extra turns. We also have 2 Magus of the Moon and Big Mama Klothys as other creatures that can help close out the game even when you're not comboing off. So I chose Magus of the Moon over Blood Moon because I feel that people generally bring in naturalize effects for your Fires of Invention in post-board games, which makes actual factual Blood Moon worse than Magus of the Moon. I guess one downside here, though, is specifically Walking Ballista from Eldrazi Tron, which can kill Magus of the Moon, but obviously can't kill Blood Moon. But I still feel like it's worth it to run Magus over Blood Moon. And then Klothys is an interesting inclusion. So she's a little bit of mana ramp, she's a little bit of life gain, and she's a little bit of a clock. She doesn't do any one of those things particularly well, but she does a lot of things, which in a format as diverse as Modern, I think is very important for your sideboard cards. Next, we have a few counterspells, 1 Mystical Dispute, 1 Negate, and 1 Veil of Summer. And I know this doesn't specifically say counter a spell on it, but it's basically Cryptic Command. Then we have 2 Weather the Storm for burn, and Surgical Extraction for those graveyard decks. All right, let's jump straight into the matches. Okay, here we are for match 1. We've lost the die roll. Hand is certainly not great. If Lightning Bolt is good here, hand is fine. I think I'm going to keep it just because we have a Serum Visions, but it's very meh. Hollowed Fountain. Based on this Hollowed Fountain, I'm going to assume control. I'm going to hope it's not spirits because I'm going to hurt myself here, since if we draw a Wrenn and Six, we want to be able to cast it next turn, and Snow Island will not let us do that. Both of these seem pretty okay. Misty Rainforest from the opponent, they are probably control, probably not. I'm going to top the Time Warp and then play a fetch land, and if we decide that we don't want the Time Warp, then we'll just fetch. Hieroglyphic Illumination cycled from the opponent. Yeah, they are definitely control. So I think I'm just going to jam Uro here, and I think I do want the Time Warp, since we are going to have to start casting those at some point. So we want Breeding Pool, and then I'll just go ahead and play this island. Ooh, there's a Wrenn and Six, I like that. Opponent will have Cryptic mana up after this. I think that's okay. We could theoretically cast Uro next turn if we wanted. I don't think that's a great idea, though. I think I will fetch for a Breeding Pool. But yeah, I think it's just too likely that the opponent has a counterspell. Now that we found second Jace, I think we can jam first Jace and be pretty happy about it. So I'm expecting Cryptic here, but I think it's fine to just make our opponent, cycle a Cryptic. Oh, okay. Do we think they have Vendilion Click? We have Bolt for that. Oh, interesting. Put the Hieroglyphic Illumination back on top with the Mystic Sanctuary. That's kind of cool. Seems like a lot of work for card advantage, though. All right, opponent's playing their own Jace. If they Brainstorm, I think I'm going to let it happen because I want to draw into the Bolt that's on top of our deck so that we can zap down their Jace. This way, even if they counter this Bolt, still be pretty happy about it. Okay, now that Jace died, we can probably shuffle away a Bolt. They might do that again. Let's see. So I'm kind of tempted to play the island and then cast Astrolabe and just not have Savor the Moment in my hand. And then we can potentially Cryptic something. I think that's pretty solid. And then we probably don't want that Savor the Moment, so I'm probably going to fetch. Cycling that Hieroglyphic Illumination, pretty powerful. But yeah, so now next turn we have, let's see, do I even bother cracking this? I think so. We're going to want another red source after casting Wrenn and Six. Okay, we've got plenty of options, which is very cool. I think we need another Lonely Sandbar. I also don't think we want Mikokoro. I also don't think it's time to start jamming Time Warp, but I do want to play Wrenn and Six and see if we can get the Lonely Sandbar. Hardcast Force of Negation. That's pretty scary. I'll try to counter back and see what happens. Interesting. Mystic Sanctuary, putting the Force of Negation back on top. And then opting into the Force. Okay, neat. And then probably forcing. Okay, that was neat. I could put Cryptic on top and then cast Serum Visions. That sounds pretty good to me. We're almost at the point where Fires of Invention is going to hurt us more than it helps us, and I don't think we want this Astrolabe. So go ahead and bottom both of these. We also have an Uro as another gas spell, so got a lot of very powerful spells here. I swear I bottomed that. See what we Jace into. Some point to Savor the Moment is probably going to be good. It has 3 cards in hand. So I'm tempted to play Chandra, and then we'll be able to have Cryptic mana up to defend her. Yeah, and I think we can get rid of these two. Okay, cool. Opponent has had enough. All right, so blue-white control. I like to try to outgrind them, out mid-range them, I guess. Out aggro them, maybe? Whatever. They usually just aren't equipped to deal with a 3-mana 4/3. So I think having Bonecrusher Giant is going to be pretty good. Also, cards like Force of Negation just don't counter Klothys, and Klothys is a clock. It also makes their Snapcasters worse. And then other good spells, Mystical Dispute and Negate. That's for cards to take out. Lightning Bolt, pretty bad. Oh, Veil of Summer is also a good one. And then I like just trimming on some number of fires and Savor. So how about 3 and 2? Let's try it like that. Okay, here we are for game number 2. This is tempting. Klothys is pretty sick. Having Negate is always pretty good. One issue, obviously, is that we can't cast Klothys on... Well, I guess we can't hold up Negate on 2 and also cast Klothys on 3. Unless we're not casting the Astrolabe, which also sounds silly. Yeah, the mana just doesn't quite work out right, but I think this is still worth keeping. Flooded Strand from the opponent. We could hurt ourselves to cast Serum. That sounds probably good. Ooh, Bonecrusher Giant. That's pretty solid. We might just go Creature Beats, honestly. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna top both of these. Search for Ascanta, that's annoying. Oh, I should have put them in the other order. That was very silly. Alright, well, I'll hold up Negate and also Stomp. Yeah, if I had Brazen Borrower here instead, we would be able to go end step, bounce, search. But yeah, that's kind of a bummer that we can't do that right now. Let's see, so do we hold up Negate or do we just jam something? I feel like the opponent is pretty unlikely to counter a Klothys here. So I kind of just want to jam. And then Klothys also is pretty okay at keeping Search for Ascanta in check. Yeah, let's do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and get a shock land here. Again, we want to keep the basic land count high for things like that. All right, I was wrong. It has Aether Gust. Top the Klothys. Aether Gust is an interesting one. Interesting. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria to the graveyard. Is the opponent looking for lands? Well, they played a land. Okay, now that they have Cryptic, now I'm a lot more scared. So I think I'm just going to hold up Negate and then probably Petty Theft the Search for Ascanta. And since that's the plan, I think I'm just going to Arcum's Astrolabe. Time Warp is not exactly what we're looking for right now. Yeah, that happens. Okay, kept that one on top. Yeah, just gonna go ahead and end step, try to bounce this, see what happens. All right, do I jam Klothys with Negate backup? I think that sounds good to me. Snapcaster, Aether Gust, huh? All right. Let's see. Cool. All right, so we can also try to stomp on the Snapcaster later. Island into Opt. Uh-oh. Teferi Hero. That's annoying. Or sorry, Teferi Time Raveler. Bouncing Klothys, very annoying. And search for Ascanta. Interesting. Leaving Snapcaster back for no reason. I don't understand that. I think I'm gonna try to Bonecrush Teferi. Get him off the table. All right. Let's see if we can dig Klothys. All right, well, opponent has Search for Ascanta active if they graveyard their card, which is kind of annoying. But we'll see if our weird mid-rangey beatdown can get there. Oh my god, that's so annoying. It's also not a land. I think I'm going to go ahead and just do this because if we get a land, we can cast 2 threats instead of 1. I think that's where we need to be. Ugh, gross. At least they're not activating Ascanta this turn. Our life total is also dropping pretty rapidly. We're going from 10 to 8 this turn. Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to beat this active Search for Ascanta. Jesus. We just cannot draw a land in our 20 whatever land deck, 26 land deck. Force of Negation. All right. Yeah, and they're going to get to activate Ascanta here. Yeah, gosh, it would have been real nice if we could have drawn a land at some point in the past 3 turns or whatever. There's a Force of Negation. That's good to know about, I guess. Field of Ruin. Teferi's up to bouncing Loyalty again. It's just only annoying cards here. All right, let's see if they force this. Yep. Okay. And then Where we cast is probably getting bounced, so I guess it makes sense to cast Bonecrusher Giant. Okay. Or it's just getting countered instead. What are they getting back? Was Augur Mage's Charm. That's annoying. Yeah, I do not believe we're beating Augur Mage's Charm plus Active Search for Ascanta. Let's see, they just got back. Force of Negation, yeah. Just can't draw land to save our lives. Land also wouldn't have done it there, but whatever. Okay, are we changing anything for the draw? Sorry, for the play? I think this is fine. Okay, here we are for game 3. We are going first. Sure. And I think I'm going to hurt myself on the Serum Visions with a Fetch Shock. The reason being, if we draw Fetch Land plus Wrenn and Six, I want to be able to cast Wrenn on turn 2. We did not quite get there. I don't think we want this Time Warp just yet. They were really clogging up our hand last game. I think I'm just gonna play the Serum Visions and then probably play Island if we want to not mess up the scry. Ooh, Wrenn and Six is pretty good. Reading Pool is not. So do we just jam Wrenn and Six here? I feel like maybe we jam Bonecrusher Giant. Because I think they're just less likely to have like a force, or they're more likely to have a counterspell for Wrenn and Six, like a Force of Negation, than they are to have one for Bonecrusher. So I'm just gonna play Bonecrusher here and see if we can just crush their bones. Aether Gust, interesting. Let's go ahead and top that. I don't think I would mind drawing it again. Teferi is pretty annoying. I guess now we can play Fires of Invention plus Wrenn and Six. Yeah, I guess see if they have a Force of Negation for either of those. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, there is the Force of Negation, exiling Mystical Dispute. Okay. 3 cards in the opponent's hand. All right, well, I think I'm gonna jam this Wrenn and Six. I could play around Mana Leak by playing Mystic Sanctuary first, but I would really rather just play the Wrenn and Six and then try to get a red source for Bonecrusher Giant. Ugh, hard cast Mystical Dispute. Guess I should have played the Mystic Sanctuary. Serum Visions on top then. Sad about life. Actually, hold on. I kind of want to just cycle the Savor the Moment, I think. Savor the Moment is pretty bad right now. I have some extra mana lying around anyway. So opponent only has 3 cards in hand also, so it's not the end of the world, but this is looking not great. Getting back Force of Negation. -3ing. Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to cast Bonecrusher Giant and see what that does. Guess let's Serum Visions first. I think I'll make the opponent counter these at some point. And we can't cast Stomp because then because that'll just get countered by the Force of Negation that's in the opponent's hand. Jeez. All right, I guess we use this. Yeah, because know about that force negation, so it's going to be hard to play through that. Opponent doesn't have too many cards in hand though, so that's good. Let's see if we can cycle this Time Warp or if the opponent doesn't want us to. So this Field of Ruin is now one-sided, which is very unfortunate. Yep. Yeah, that is rough. We have all of our basics out already. And it was just so bad to draw double Snow Island this game. It both messed up our mana in terms of not casting Bonecrusher Giant that one turn, and now we're down a land. Oh my god, there's Force of Negation again. This is really annoying. I'm going to see what happens if we try to bounce Mystic Sanctuary and draw a card. Okay. Getting forced. I'm just going to put a Serum Visions on top, since that'll set up our next draws after that. Always feels bad. I feel like we want to have a turn where we're casting both of these. I also feel like the opponent's probably going to fetch a Mystic Sanctuary and probably put Force of Negation on top again. Oh, they put Opt on top? Interesting. We're looking for a threat. Oh crap, they found a threat. Oh no. Alright, so I'm going to wait one turn to cast this. The reason being, if the opponent has actual nothing, we can win the game. Seems like a little more than actual nothing here. Yeah, if they... Oh, shoot, they bottomed. Didn't realize that. Alright, yeah. We can't beat this wall of walkers. Unfortunate. See you for the next match. Okay, here we are for match number 2. We have won the die roll. This hand's pretty bad. I'm gonna keep it. All it does is play Uro on turn 3, and then hopefully if we draw lands, we can go turn 4 Fires into Time Warp. But we really need something more in order to actually do anything. So this one's probably getting a Breeding Pool. This one's probably getting a... Alright, opponent is on Tron. There's a Power Plant and a map. Alright, let's hope we're not getting Karned anytime soon. Alright, well there's a mine, so incoming turn 3 Tron. There's literally the worst card that we could draw. Alright, and let's see a land. We even need 2 lands off the top. Jesus Christ. Alright, well, that sucks. Looks like we're losing this game. 26 lands later. Alright, how bad is it, Doc? Just Worm Coil me. Okay, okay. That's no Karn. We can still maybe win this one if we have a land off the top. Maybe. Looks like a big Walkie Bee. Maybe I spoke too soon about this Lightning Bolt then. Oh no, it's a Thragtusk. Wow. Big Daddy Thragtusk. That ain't a land. Oh my god. Oh. Is a tap land even good enough? I'm gonna say no. Now that we have the Savor the Moment, we need an untapped land and then Fire's Savor. followed by next turn Jace, draw land, time warp. So yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this is no good. Okay, we're done. Okay, green Tron. Magus is great. Abrade is good on the play when you can hit Expedition map, and we've got a negate. Bolt is god awful, and let's trim Fires and a Savor. All right, try it like that. Okay, here we are for game 2. We are going first. Cool, we've got a Wrenn and Six on turn 2. That sounds like a keep to me. I'm gonna Serum Visions, looking for Magus of the Moon. I think I'm going to bottom every card that isn't Magus of the Moon. Guess that's not true. I should probably keep Serum Visions, I guess. Opponent mulling to 4. We can't beat Tron on a mull to 4. This will be very sad. All right, those cards are not Magus of the Moon. Opponent has Power Plant. That's also not a Magus of the Moon. All right, there's a tower. Magus of the Moon. Nope. Yep, we've got nothing to brazenly borrow. I'm gonna play the Astrolabe first, and that way, if we get the cycle land, we can just return that. Also want to thin the deck, and also get more cards in the yard for Wrenn and Six. Goodness. All right, how bad is it, Doc? Expedition map, that's not so bad. Especially since we get to bounce that. Just have so many lands in hand. Is this a Chandra turn? I think this is just a Chandra plus turn. Not casting that. We don't have mana. All right, there's the map again. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, because we had both Steam Vents already, we couldn't play a fetch land because those no longer got red sources. Oh wait, no, we had Astrolabe. Could have done that. I forgot. I think let's just ultimate Wrenn and Six. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna add mana with Chandra, filter one of it to blue, and then cast Savor the Moment. Just gonna hurt myself on this breeding pool. Okay, so let's give instants and sorceries retrace, and then add some mana, then retrace, discarding a fetch land, and sure, let's play this. Ooh. Okay, we can just get a Chandra emblem and then hold up Cryptic. That sounds pretty good. I feel like we can't lose once we're... Actually, we can just bounce a Tron land and then plus Chandra, and the opponent just has no actual way to deal with that. Yeah, let's do that. All right, next turn we're going to get the Chandra emblem, and then should be just game over from there. Let's see, Wrenn and Six, Wrenn and Six. Okay, yeah, this is actual game over. So, Wrenn and Six, shoot their face. Ping, shoot the face. Wrenn and Six, shoot the face. Then Brazy Bee, shoot the face. Cool. Okay, what to change for the draw? I think Abrade becomes a lot worse because it no longer hits an expedition map on turn 1. I think let's just get another Fires in here, just try to go a little bit faster. Right, like that. Okay, here we are for game 3. We are on the draw. This hand looks pretty good. And just draw a land in the next couple of cards. So we get to Gemstone Cavern, probably exiling Time Warp, and then our turn 1, Flooded Strand, Astrolabe. Unfortunately, we don't get to hold up Negate. So maybe we just exile Negate? Nah, I think we want to exile Time Warp. We're just too far off from casting Time Warp right now. There's a map, that's unfortunate. All right, cool. And I want to have some islands in case the opponent manages to kill stuff. Well, opponent's going to have turn 3 Tron, but we are going to have a turn 2 Magus of the Moon. Ooh, that's neat. All right, there's the last Tron piece. So the thing that we're afraid of now is, oh, wait, they got a second power plant? That's really weird. The thing that we're afraid of now is Oblivion Stone. So I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to play out the Magus of the Moon. It might be a good idea to hold up Negate, but I also want to get the Jace down, so I don't really know. I guess it depends on what they do with this. Karn, all right. It's not happening anytime soon. Star. Yeah, so what we're afraid of is Oblivion Stone. So I could wait. I could wait to cast Jace. And basically just always hold up Negate. But the downside there is opponent is getting towards Thragtusk mana and eventually is going to get to Karn mana. So I think I'd rather just play Jace and try to draw some actual good stuff. Let's attack first. All right, Fires of Invention plus Savor the Moment is pretty cool. Whatever, I don't think it makes a huge difference what we put back. I guess the only thing is if they go like Wastes Thought-Knot Seer, what do we not want them to take? You have a way to I don't think they're going to have a way to get rid of Jace, so I think if I just put both of these back, we'll be able to do that next turn. Okay, Sphere. Star. So I guess one downside of playing the Fires of Invention plus Savor is it basically turns off our Negate because, you know, we won't have it available on the opponent's turn. I think let's see what we draw into and see whether or not we think it's worth it. Oh, Time Warp's pretty sweet. This gets us a lot more Jace brainstorms, so, you know, I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, see what we draw into. I guess we can start taking this Wrenn and Six up towards ultimate. So then, do we just not even play the breeding pool in anticipation of ultimating Wrenn and Six? Guess we're drawing another land anyway. Yeah. Whatever, it doesn't make a huge difference. Let's see what we draw. I think the play now is to Serum and then bounce one of their lands. Just keep them as far away from doing things as possible. Serum gets us closer to more time warp effects, like that one. Sick. Sure, let's just hit the forest, I guess. I feel like we're accruing enough lands that I think we can afford to play one. And we've already cast our 2 spells, so we won't be savoring the moment there, but that's fine. All right, getting rid of Serum Visions. What in the world is our opponent doing? I don't know. Let's draw some cards, see what they are. Ooh. Lonely Sandbar, that is nice. Let's see, so I don't think we want this Negate. So I think this turn we're going to Chandra, exile the Negate. And then Savor the Moment and Lonely Sandbar, draw into something, Wrenn and Six, see if we can get back the Lonely Sandbar or if they pop this. So I guess we do Lonely Sandbar first. Or we do that before Savor the Moment, rather. So I think the order is put back land Negate, cast Chandra, plus exile Negate, Lonely Sandbar, draw land, Wrenn and Six, plus see if we get back Lonely Sandbar or not, and then cast Savor the Moment. All right, there's the plan. Interesting, okay. I guess let's start by cycling the Lonely Sandbar, see where we get. Well, bye-bye Graveyard. Interesting that the opponent waited until that moment to do that. Let's see. So we could go Serum Visions first, and then Jace, and then Chandra. We're basically just looking for another extra turn effect. Those aren't it. So we get another extra turn effect, then we're pretty golden since we've got the Wrenn and Six. Yeah, those are not it. Guess let's just cast Uro. And I guess I'll go ahead and play a land. We've got plenty now. We could also be discarding if we don't, so. Do I play another land? I don't think it makes a huge difference. All right, well, I don't know what the opponent could have here, but they need something. Expedition map. All right, I think I'm gonna run back the Serum Visions, casting it with Retrace, and just try to dig closer to an extra turn. Those aren't it. All right, see if we hit it. Wow, that's kind of absurd. And I guessed I cast another Magus in case the opponent draws like a Dismember or something. All right, there's an Urza's Mine, but I feel like really the only thing they could have right now is a Walking Ballista, which it looks like they don't have. Yeah, because now we ultimate Chandra and any spell or land will do it. go ahead and attack. And in order to show off both emblems, I guess we'll cast this one. All right, see you for the next match. Okay, here we are for match 3. We have lost the die roll. This hand is really close to being good. I feel like if we play the Astrolabe and draw into a Wrenn and Six, we're almost there. We'd have the Lonely Sandbar. We won't have the fetch land. We also have Fires into Savor for turn 4 potentially. Yeah, it depends a lot on what we draw, but I think I'm going to keep it. Oh, borrow into Witching Well from the opponent. I don't know what that means. All right, let's just go ahead and play Astrolabe. Nope, that's not Wrenn and Six. Oh, okay. Blue Tron. All right, that's also not Wrenn and Six. Let's see if we draw another cantrip. We do. Yeah, I'll go ahead and hurt myself here. Okay, that's quite a few lands. I don't think either of these is really going to do anything, so let's go ahead and bottom both. Yeah, this hand is not shaping out the way that I wanted it to. Wow, repeal on Witching Well. What a play. There's that Witching Well again. 2 to the bottom. What are they digging for? We really don't have anything here. I think next turn I'm going to play Fires of Invention and see if they counter. Hope they do, to be honest. All right, they have 5 cards in hand. They're probably gonna go for the Witching Well if they don't counter something, so. All right, what you got, opponent? Remand. Ugh. It's not a real counter spell. They're up to 6 cards. And they've achieved Tron. That's real annoying. All right, Thirst for Knowledge from the opponent. Discarding Spatial Contortion and Snow Island. I feel like it's unlikely that we win this game. The opponent's probably just going to have a steady stream of counter spells, but we'll see. Oh, what's this? Good old second main phase pump fake into Expedition Map. Cool. All right. What you got? All right, cracking the map. Academy Ruins. Another remand. Very annoying. I went with 6 cards in hand still. There's the Witching Well. It's kind of a cool wombo combo of Witching Well plus Academy Ruins. Just this steady stream of card advantage for like billions of mana. Speaking of steady stream of card advantage, there they are, drawn 2 cards. I feel like they have to have another blue source given that they discarded this island a while back. No more blue sources. Wormcoil Engine. All right, so one interesting thing is we need to actually draw gas. So I'm going to put Serum Visions on top to try to scry towards any planeswalker. This is certainly not the best use of Serum Visions. Let's just make sure this resolves first. I don't think they have any interaction. Yeah. All right, Wrenn and Six, great. And then do we want Uro? Guess so. All right, yeah, this should be good. All right. Have the loop. We only have 2 Mystic Sanctuaries left in the deck, plus the one in our hand, though. I do think we're going to need to get at least a little bit lucky. Right. Time Warp again. There's our last Mystic Sanctuary in the deck. And then I guess let's cast Uro. I'm going to say whatever. Let's take a look at whatever card is underneath this in case it's another cool Planeswalker or something. Cool, it's another cool Planeswalker or something. Guess let's start getting back the Lonely Sandbar. This is kind of cool. So we get to Mystic Sanctuary, put this Time Warp on top. Then we get to play Chandra, and plus to exile that Time Warp. Cool. Yeah, I think we're about to go deterministic with this Time Warp in our hand. So with the Time Warp we just cast, we take Wrenn and Six up to 7. This Time Warp takes Wrenn and Six up to 8. And then we can just, yeah, ultimate Wrenn and Six, discard the land to Time Warp, and then keep plussing Wrenn and Six to keep Time Warping. Eventually, Chandra Emblem finishes the job. Cool. So blue Tron. Haven't played against blue Tron in a very long time, so I know they have a lot of counter spells. Obviously, we saw a lot. Magus of the Moon, probably also pretty good. I feel like they have a lot of artifacts, so I think Abrade will be good. I think Veil will be good against their counter spells. Mystical Dispute is in a weird position. It's good in the early game before they have Tron, and it's very, very, very bad after they have Tron. I think we can go ahead and try it anyway. Let's see, 6 cards. I feel like this is kind of a lot, but Lightning Bolt doesn't do that much. Uro's not great. Let's see, or do we want to keep some Uros and trim another Fires of Invention, given that we're bringing in some counter magic? We can go for a coward split. All right. Yeah, like I said, I haven't played against blue Tron in quite a long time, so this could be wrong, but let's go ahead and try it like that. Okay, here we are for game 2. We are going second. Man, if we had an Arcum's Astrolabe, this hand would be excellent. Really liking Veil plus Dispute for resolving the Magus of the Moon, but need another land first. I think I'm still going to keep it. All right, Tower Map from the opponent. Serum Visions. Ooh. Do I use the Serum Visions or do I hold up Mystical Dispute? I feel like I use the Serum Visions. The opponent is probably just going to crack the map anyway. Okay, and then another tough call. Do I get Breeding Pool for Veil of Summer or do I get Basic Island for Magus of the Moon? I think Basic Island. Maybe I'm going to regret that one. We'll see. All right, well, we get another opportunity. I don't think we want these. I think this is enough lands. Okay, Ghost Quarter from the opponent. And then thought I said that was enough lands. And then I predict that the opponent's going to just crack their map. So we'll see what they do on their turn. Basically, if they don't play a blue source, then I think we just jam Magus of the Moon. Oh, interesting. They got Oboro. I was expecting them to get a Tron piece. All right. So because they got Oboro, I think we want to wait on jamming Magus of the Moon until we can cast Veil of Summer also. I guess I'll crack this for Breeding Pool. Ooh, Serum Visions. Okay, I think I'm gonna get a basic island and then cast Serum Visions. That sounds pretty good. It is annoying that we drew Snow Mountain, which means after we get second basic island out of the deck, there's only going to be one more basic island. We really, really, really want it to not be the top card here. Right. These aren't great. Yeah, these are not great. And I think it's unlikely that we're using both Mystical Dispute and Veil of Summer, so I'm just going to go ahead and cast this on our opponent's next turn, I mean. Should not have F6'd in case we want to Mystical Dispute there. I think I still wouldn't. But yeah, that was my bad on F6ing. Discarding Condescend. Karn, Scion of Urza. Interesting. Forgot what this one does. Oh no. The opponent's playing Commandeer. Alright. Choose a card. The chosen card will be put into their hand. Oh man, I have to give them a basic instead then? That's hyper brutal. You have Mystical Dispute, but it's not going to be very good. And that's so brutal. Alright. So I think we're just going to jam Magus of the Moon and hold up Mystical Dispute. Alright. Commandeer into hand. That's a rough one. Can't really cast this Jace anymore. Treasure Mate. Yeah, I'm gonna try to say no to that one. I was thinking awfully hard about that one. Ugh. This is a lot of lands, plus that Jace that we can't cast in good conscience. We also can't get back Mystical Dispute using Mystic Sanctuary because that's actually a mountain. Man, that Commandeer is brutal. Veil of Summer also does not work very well against Commandeer because, geez, give them another island or give them a Witching Well? Guess I'll give them a Witching Well. I really don't like either of those. But yeah, this just this does not give spells hexproof. It gives spells can't be countered, and then Commandeer doesn't actually counter. It's a lot of mountains. Oof. Sure. Let's just keep playing mountains and keep attacking Karn. I feel like the opponent is pretty close to just hardcasting their stuff. I mean, this is 6 lands. They could get the 7th land if they wanted. That's like, you know, big Karn. That's, what, is that Platinum Angel? Is that 7? Oh my god. Cyclonic Rift is a disaster. Turn target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. Overload. Plays each instance of target with each. Well, Overloaded does not work, or Veil of Summer does not work very well against an overloaded Cyclonic Rift. Man, I feel like this Magus of the Moon is not very good. The opponent has had basic land in every single Karn Plus. Just drawn more mountains. I guess I shouldn't F6 while I have Veil of Summer up. I think the opponent's just going to use the Witching Well though, but yeah. I guess one interesting thing is if the opponent goes Karn, grab Cyclonic Rift, don't overload, I get to cast Veil of Summer right? If they don't want to bounce the Arcum's Astrolabe also, I get to cast Veil of Summer and have it actually do something. That would be kind of cool. Opponent has 10 cards in hand. That's insane. What a ridiculous number. That is literally more than the number of spells that we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spells. Oh my god, they got Island? What's happening? Eugene? Yeah, I don't think we can win now. We have a known Commandeer in hand. We don't have any Time Warps in the yard, so grabbing a... Yeah, even if we just play Jace... Yeah, Eugene just pluses to kill it. Yeah, we can't win this one. Man, that was kind of ridiculous. Do I want to just start attacking earlier? Do I want to just have Bonecrusher Giant instead of Uro? Maybe. Yeah, alright, let's see what happens if we try just attacking faster and harder. So I guess take out another Savor and another Fires. Yeah, I don't know about this, but we'll try it. Wait. What if we do this? Let's do that. We don't need that Gemstone Caverns anymore. We're plenty lucky already. Hey, here we are for game 3. We are going first. I don't really know, I guess. I mean, I feel like Magus of the Moon is not the kind of slam dunk here that it would be against Fires of Invention, that it would be against other flavors of Tron, so I feel like it's unreasonable to try to mulligan to it or whatever. Alright, I think I'm just gonna spam Bonecrusher Giant, so I think I'm just gonna stomp right now. I think I'm gonna go for the, you know, hit fast, hit hard. See if we can sneak in under counter spells or something. Probably not, to be honest, but a remand wouldn't be too bad. Gonna go ahead and hurt myself, because whatever. Yeah, getting this Bonecrusher remanded would not be the worst thing. Condescended would be unfortunate. Aether Gust. Huh. Interesting. Expedition map. So I could go for a Fires of Invention into Savor the Moment. Let's see where that gets us. Opponent has 4 cards in hand, so it's unlikely stuff gets commandeered. Alternatively, I could just go for Bonecrusher Giant. Try to crush their bones. They could have Tron next turn, which is, I think, the scary part. It's 8 mana. Yeah, that could be Ugin, which would make a Bonecrusher Giant feel pretty embarrassed. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Fires of Invention and see what happens. Plus, it's reasonably likely that the opponent has a counterspell anyway, so I feel like the counterspells are mostly Remand and Condescend, so between Bonecrusher Giant and Fires... Oh, I guess Condescend wouldn't actually hit Bonecrusher, but then they just, you know, can potentially get an Ugin, so... yeah, I don't know. This is kind of tough. I don't really see how we're beating an Ugin. This is just such a fast Tron for blue Tron, I think. I feel like they don't have the Sylvan Scrying or the Ancient Stirrings that gives green Tron its consistency, so I feel like usually blue Tron hits actual Tron later. Dang it! Alright, well, now they probably don't have Tron this turn at least, so, you know, little victories. Okay, there's Expedition map. There's the tower. Oh man, they can even crack this Witching Well. Alright, well I have an idea, which is Mystic Sanctuary, put Savor the Moment on top, cycle cast Savor and then cast Bonecrusher? I mean, we're probably getting countered, but it's better than nothing, right? Even if we get commandeered here, I was gonna say that would be pretty bad. I think I just want to get actual Bonecrusher on the battlefield. So we only get 2 spells. There's spell number 2. We do get to attack with it, which is cool. I also don't think there is basically any way at all for us to beat a Eugene the Sprite Dragon, so I think I'm just going to cast Bonecrusher if I don't draw something better to do. I did not draw something better to do. So I guess one kind of cool thing is they didn't counter this Savor the Moment, so it's unlikely that they would counter Stomp. Like, the only card I can think of would be Dispel. That would counter Stomp, but not Savor the Moment. So let's try this. Huh, interesting. I don't actually know the rules for if you commandeer an adventure spell. Do I get to cast it, or do they get to cast it? Oh my god, I can't cast it? Oh no. Well, that's a huge disaster. Oh my god. Yeah, if they get to cast... Oh, I guess they don't have the colored mana, but yeah, that's... Yeah, we have no interaction. Incidentally, putting Savor the Moment on top is pretty bad since we don't even get to untap the Bonecrusher Giant, so... Yeah, I'm not aware of the specific rules for Adventure, so definitely going to look up the interaction with Adventure and Commandeer, see if this is how it's supposed to work, which I could easily imagine the rules being worded such that the spell's controller gets to cast it from exile, but I could also imagine it being that the spell's owner, meaning, you know, me, would get to cast it from exile. Yeah, I guess I'll look it up afterwards and see if this is a moto bug or if this is just how it works. All right, what is the opponent doing? Karn, Scion of Urza. There's a Karnstruct. All right, well, that's something. Guess let's try to kill Karn. They'll probably say no. Yep. Yeah, man, this would be such a different game if we were allowed to cast Bonecrusher Giant. Okay, so I think our out here is to get running Time Warps. So I think I'm going to try to just attack the opponent and see if we can just draw another, what, 2 Time Warps off the top after this one. All right, so yeah, opponent down to 10 this turn. They'll be down to 6 the following turn. All right, Time Warp, 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 Time Warp! Nice. All right. Hit me, baby, one more time. Show me one more Time Warp. Also Chandra does it, also Stomp does it. One more, right off the top. Oh, let's go! Wow, there's just all sorts of lethal here. Lay claim. What? Nice. I'll see you for the next match. Okay, here we are for match 4. We've won the die roll. Nice. Turn 2 Wrenn and Six. Count me in. For those of you curious about the adventure plus commandeer ruling, I looked it up in between matches, and Moto did work correctly. It's the controller of the spell, not the owner of the card, who gets to cast the creature from adventure. Or from exile, I mean. So, yeah, won't be filing for compensation today, but... Well, actually, maybe I will. You never know. There's always more bugs to find out there. Anyway, let's see what the opponent is up to. Forest. Arbor Elf. Nice. This is one of the best things about Wrenn and Six. You get to kill those freaking elves. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, that Lonely Sandbar was a real good draw there. Wow, and the opponent is just done. Okay, so we saw Arbor Elf plus basic forest. So I feel like we err on the side of sideboarding less. I think Lightning Bolt is important over Bonecrusher Giant when we're on the draw, because I think killing Arbor Elf is pretty important. I can imagine like one Anger of the Gods, one Bonecrusher Giant. I think the opponent is probably on a creature-y deck. Then maybe get rid of one Fires, one Savor. Just not go too crazy. Try something like that. Okay, here we are for game 2. We are going second. This hand looks great though. Utopia Sprawl. Alright, there are multiple reasons we're not killing that. So I think this might be a Ponza deck. So what that tells us is that we do not want to leave a killable land exposed. So I'm gonna play the Scalding Tarn. I guess fetch a Steam Vent. This way, if they have a Stone Rain effect, hitting the Scalding Tarn doesn't really do anything. And then we'll be able to play Wrenn and Six, and then they can Stone Rain us all they want. We'll just keep playing the lands over and over again. I guess there's an argument to fetch basic Mountain to play around Boil. And also Choke. Yeah, sure. Okay, like I said, now they can Stone Rain us all they want. We'll just keep getting the lands back. Okay, what do you got, opponent? Choke. Alright, we are going to want to get this Fires of Invention out. Yeah, so the sucky part about Choke is that all of our remaining fetchables on the Scalding Tarn are affected by Choke. So still gonna do this, just because once we get Fires of Invention out, it won't really matter anyway. This is kind of rough because we're really exposing ourselves to, oh god. Oh crap. Didn't realize we were gonna have to discard. Yeah, I don't want to cast Bonecrusher Giant. I think unfortunately I just have to discard it. Yeah, I should have just played Lonely Sandbar, I think, because then we could follow up by... Actually, I think I can discard Savor the Moment. The reason being, once we manage to play Fires of Invention, we'll have 5 lands out anyway because of this tapped breeding pool. So, but anyway, I should have just played the Lonely Sandbar, since we're not going to be cycling it using an island anyway, since, you know, we want our 4 lands. So yeah, just not discarding there would have been smart. And also having Mountain plus Lonely Sandbar if we need to stomp something would have also been smart. Ooh. Stomping ground from the opponent. What do you got? Pillage on the mountain. Okay. Luckily we can get that mountain back. Yeah. Man. Definitely should have played the Lonely Sandbar, then I'd be able to play that Serum Visions. Ugh. Alright, well. Gonna just go ahead and play the Lonely Sandbar. Get the mountain back. Do I just discard Scalding Tarn here? I guess, yeah, since I'm assuming Wrenn and Six is going to continue living, I guess I just get rid of that. Obviously, that's a huge problem if Wrenn and Six dies, but I don't think the opponent has anything reasonable that could kill Wrenn and Six right now. Oh no. I've made a huge mistake. Okay, whew, saved. The other good thing is I get to stomp the Scavenging Ooze now, which is cool. Boy, I'm sure glad I didn't discard this Bonecrusher Giant. Yep. Get stomped. Yep. Bye-bye, savor the moment. Alright, nice. I'm glad we drew another card that isn't an island. So the thing that would be a bummer here is if the opponent has a naturalize effect for Fires of Invention, but we still got to go Fires into Time Warp and see what happens. Alright, well if the opponent doesn't have a naturalize effect, then I think we've just won the game. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and cast this Bonecrusher Giant and stomp out the opponent. I can get an emblem. Guess I could think about playing around a lightning bolt on Wrenn and Six or something like that, but whatever, I think we're looking good. Cool, I'll see you for the last match. Okay, here we are for the 5th and final match. We've won the die roll. Too many uncastable cantrips. This hand is close. We might just put Lightning Bolt back and then hope that this is a not a Lightning Bolt matchup, because having Fires plus Savor means that all we really need to do is draw 1 land plus 1 Planeswalker. On the other hand, if this is a Lightning Bolt matchup, then obviously putting the bolt to the bottom is pretty terrible. But I think we need all of these lands, and I think we need the Fires, I think we need the Savor, I think we need the Astrolabe for fixing. I think it's got to be the bolt. Alright, just hope we don't need bolts in this matchup. Alright, Astrolabe, show us what you got. Steam Vents into Serum Visions. Alright, I think I'm having regrets already, because I feel like there might be a Baral or a Goblin Electromancer that really wanted to meet that bolt. Alright, let's just go ahead and cycle this. Yeah, now I'm really wishing this Gemstone Caverns was a lightning bolt, but notably we have very few islands right now, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and play the Mystic Sanctuary now. Okay. See what we draw. Way too many lands. Yeah, I don't think I want to be Mikokoroing against blue deck, so I think I'm just going to bottom both of these. Really like to draw a Planeswalker sometime. Opt from the opponent. Manamorphose. Guess I shouldn't F6, I should represent the bolt that this Gemstone Caverns could be. Alright, opponent's tapped out. Alright, show me a Planeswalker, show me a Planeswalker. Not quite. Alright, well, still gonna go for it. Notably, this Flooded Strand can't fetch an active Mystic Sanctuary since we only have 2 islands. But we get to leave the Flooded Strand just chilling out there, waiting to become a Mystic Sanctuary eventually. I suppose I'll Time Warp first, and then Serum Visions, try to draw something. So we can spin our wheels here, but we can't actually make any forward progress. All right, let's draw Chandra? Nope. All right, well, that's rough. We're 16 cards in with how many cards at the bottom and no Planeswalkers? Yeah, oh man. Massive amounts of regrets everywhere. Yeah, this is not good. I think we're probably just gonna die. Notably, this card says target opponent, which means Veil of Summer is actually quite good against Gifts Ungiven. Nice little 1-mana Cryptic Command there. Alright, what the heck am I looking at? I don't think this makes a difference. Those 2 to great. Sure. Opponent is kind of pinched on mana, so there is a very, very, very small chance that they're going to fizzle, but I think realistically they are not. Oh, maybe they were deterministic? I don't know. This looks like a Grape Shot, Past in Flames Grape Shot to me. Yeah, that'll do it. Oh, Grape Shot, Remand Grape Shot. Sure, that'll do it too. Okay, well, it's good to know. Anger, I think, is decent against Empty the Warrens. This is unfortunately one of those times where Bonecrusher Giant is not good because it does not kill Baral. Abrade is pretty sweet though. Surgical's great. Mystical's good. Negate is good. I don't actually know about Weather the Storm. I feel like they can just go over it. Oh, we already talked about Veil of Summer. Yeah, so I feel like the opponent can just go over it by, you know, just continuing to cast spells and then kill you. But I am curious. I kind of want to run one. Guess I'll run one more Anger of the Gods to deal with more Empty the Warrens. Right, and then take out the Savor and the Fire. And yeah, let's try it like that. All right, here we are for game 2. We are going first. Oh man, ironically, this hand would be pretty good on the draw. Actually, I guess this isn't a fetch land, but anyway, this hand's garbage. We can't cast anything. Man, does this card think it's doing? Yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna keep this one. It feels pretty bad. I'm gonna get a basic mountain here. The reason being, A, it lets us cast Chandra with Astrolabe plus Mountain, even if we draw no other red sources. And B, if we draw Wrenn and Six, we'll be able to go Mountain, filter into green, and be able to cast it on turn 2. So, yeah. It's like opponent is joining us in mulliganing to 6. So, Snow Mountain. It's a little bigger, so I click on the right one. And that's not Wrenn and Six. Okay, Mystical Dispute is a pretty good pickup. I think that one is getting mystically disputed. I think I'm just gonna fetch a Breeding Pool here. There's an argument to not do that since we kind of want to draw lands anyway. But I'm just gonna, whatever. Okay, well, we've got a Negate and a Veil of Summer. I don't know if that's good enough. How about no? Okay, so Veil of Summer is only good against whatchamacallit, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cast Chandra while their shields are down. We could just die, but, you know, whatever. And yes, I will exile a card in order to them. Ugh, pieces of the puzzle. It's not the right zone. Let's see. They've got a lot of choices. Desperate Ritual and Gifts Ungiven. Okay. Well, hopefully we get to use this Veil of Summer effectively. Alright, I'm going to play the Gemstone Caverns first in case we exile, whatchamacallit, Time Warp. We did not. Man, it would be real nice to be drawing those fetch lands so that we could draw into Negate. Or, you know, Mystic Sanctuary, put Negate on top. Okay. Oh no. Goblin Electromancer, that's not a good sign. There's Pyretic Ritual. There's Desperate Ritual. Aha! And there's 1-mana Cryptic Command. Oh, and there's actual Cryptic Command. Alright, so this, I believe, will not be resolving. Nice. And I feel like we just Chandra minus. Ooh. Or I guess we can just bolt that. So, do you want to go for the Chandra emblem? I guess so, since we have Cryptic Command backing her up. So, let's see if we hit Time Warp and just instantly emblem. Not going to be casting that because we need to hold up Cryptic. Zap that. Yeah, opponent only has 1 card in hand with, I think, no Past in Flames. Go ahead and play this tapped. So yeah, I feel like if we get to Ultimate Chandra, we will be in very, very, very good shape. How about no? Let's see, so I think we just want to put Cryptic Command back on top and then draw it with Serum Visions. I think. Makes sense to me. Alright, so opponent down to 8. Okay, opponent down to dead. Let's see, do we want to do anything different when we are on the draw? I feel like this is fine. Yeah. Let's try it like that. Okay, here we are for the last game. Man, I really like that this hand has a Wrenn and Six on turn 2, but this hand just does not beat Storm. It's just we're gonna have all these lands in hand, and the opponent's just gonna kill us on turn 3 or 4 or whatever. Yeah, we need to mulligan to a Bolt or an Anger of the Gods or something. It pains me to do this, but yeah. All right, well, there's the spells that we wanted. We need to like shuffle those two hands together and then draw half from each. Okay, there's a bolt. Gotta keep this. And then I feel like Brazen Borrower is just not gonna do enough, so I feel like we gotta get rid of it. I'm just gonna go ahead and Serum Visions this turn. The reason being we can dig towards like a Wrenn and Six or something. Yeah, just get through all of these terrible lands. And where were those on our Mold of 6? Okay. So I'm gonna cast Astrolabe and then use Astrolabe filter into red and then zap Brawl. I think it's pretty smart of the opponent to just be, you know, doing a bolt check here. Especially if they have another... If they have another Brawl or Goblin Electromancer in their hand, then I think we're in a lot of trouble. Okay, nice. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Alright, so I believe the opponent is still going to draw a card, but the Veil of Summer will mean that Wrenn and Six is resolving at least. So that's nice. Thank you, Astrolabe. It's not quite Cryptic Command, but it's still good. Okay, and then we'll be able to start picking up the Lonely Sandbar starting next turn, so that's pretty good. All right, no land from the opponent. I'm a little scared. All lands from our deck. I'm a little scared. Uro. I feel like we can go for Uro. Rough. Oh man. I feel like we have to put Brawl in the graveyard. And I guess Pyretic and Desperate are both +1 mana. So we can get rid of the Steam Vents to try to mana screw them. Can't really mana screw them either way. Yeah, we have to get rid of the Brawl though. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to mess them up sufficiently. All right, what we'd really like is to draw Lightning Bolt or something here. All right, now what we'd really like is to not die here. If we don't die here, we get to crack Misty Rainforest, get Mystic Sanctuary, we have the 3 islands, put Veil of Summer on top, and then we get to cast Time Warp with Veil of Summer backup, but it looks like that's not happening. Guess I should not F6 here, because we might be doing something. Please just be Empty the Warrens or something. Please just be Empty the Warrens. Oh no. Please just be Empty the Warrens. Oh no. Dang it. Alright. Good game, opponent. So we went 3-2. We lost to Blue-White Control. We beat Green Tron. We beat Blue Tron. We beat Gruul Midrange. And we lost to Storm. So I think one thing that's important to note about those losses is I think I could have played them differently on a couple of critical turns. Against Blue-White Control, there was that turn where I got greedy on the Wrenn and Six by not playing a land first, only having 2 mana open, and then it got Mystical Disputed. I'm not sure exactly how different the game would have been if Wrenn and Six had resolved, but I think it would have been pretty different. And then against Storm, I could have held the Veil of Summer just to use on on Gifts Ungiven instead of using it against a Remand. I think because Gifts Ungiven is such a high impact spell, it would have just been pretty smart to keep Veil of Summer around. The downside of letting the opponent remand Wrenn and Six was actually not that bad. Basically, we would just be behind by 1 turn, but we'd still get to cast Wrenn and Six the following turn and have Veil of Summer up after that. So I think that was a mistake of using the Veil of Summer too early. Overall, I think the deck felt pretty good. Just some pilot error there on some very close games. Even the games we won were pretty close. In particular against Blue Tron, having almost no outs, the out being literally 2 time warps in a row, and then drawing to it was very, very lucky. Also having the backup Chandra after that was pretty sick. There was, another way to kill the opponent if we needed it. But yeah, overall, the engine of the deck is pretty strong. Having Planeswalkers as your engine means that, you're getting asymmetrical value. You're, continuing to get lands or Lonely Sandbars or, brainstorming repeatedly. Or we didn't really get to see Uro in action that much this league. But it is a pretty reasonable inclusion, I think. Even though Escape doesn't work well with Fires of Invention, it's still not too bad to try to escape Uro starting on turn maybe 6 or so. I think one thing to note is because some of our cantrips are Arcum's Astrolabe, which does not go to the graveyard, it can be kind of tough to have the 5 cards in graveyard in order to escape Uro, given this build. So I think if you wanted to add more Uros to the deck, you should think about maybe having more fetch lands, trimming on Astrolabes to replace them with other cantrips that could hit the yard. I think if you're going to mess with the mana base like that, it might be a good idea to get the new Ikoria Tri-land to, help fix your mana for things like Wrenn and Six or Chandra while also casting Uro. But yeah, overall, very, very fun deck. I do think that the sideboard could use a little bit of work. In particular, there's not that many counterspells in the sideboard. I'm of the opinion that counterspells are generally pretty bad in Modern because of cards like Veil of Summer or Cavern of Souls. So I don't really like having that many counterspells. But that said, counterspells are pretty good against, blue-white control or Storm, the decks that we lost to. So it might be worth adding in another couple counters. Also, I think that Titan decks have been doing pretty well, so Disdainful Stroke in particular might be a pretty reasonable counterspell to have. But again, those decks can run Cavern of Souls, so maybe not. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you for the next one.